must be a reasonable size companies and proprietary companies also. So I'll assume that it's a for CA firm is about 5 or 5 to 10 people in size. And I mean, it is wherever possible. I will also tell you how it can be applied to a sole proprietary firm or with 2 or 3 partners also. Okay, so you need to identify what are the critical processes that you carry out in your CA firm. Some companies may be doing only auditing services, taxation services only. Some companies may be doing additional secretarial practices also. So you need to identify what actual processes you carry out in your CA firm. Okay, then business impact analysis is the third phase, third step, that we will discuss what exactly is business impact analysis. Then step 4 is continuity response approaches. That also we will discuss as we move further. Then monitoring, testing, and improving the whole BCM process. Even testing also we will discuss a little bit later. Okay, before we discuss whether this BCM or BCP is business continuity planning, is relevant or is needed for a chartered accountant firm, let us discuss some benefits of this when we implement in an organization. See, BCM, business continuity management, when implemented, will minimize the effect of a disruption on an organization. Take the example of this lockdown. Without proper business continuity management process in place, it is going to be very difficult for you to come back on tracks and also restore the operations which you've been carrying out, because you're not doing many activities in the last few days actually. So when you have this in place, it will really help you to come back on tracks very quickly and recover very fast with less costs. Then retain company brand and image and give staff, clients, and suppliers a sense of confidence. Because this, as I told you, this is a unique case of lockdown where everything is shut down across the globe. But there may be instances where disaster occur only are localized to a certain area. Okay, so when this happens, you may not be providing the services which you normally provide to the clients. So it may affect, it may hit your brand, it may brand image, it may affect your reputation. So when business continuity management is in place, you can avoid this. You can retain your firm's brand image and also safeguard your reputation. Then the other benefit is enable the recovery of critical systems within an agreed timeline. I told you, when you prepare a business continuity manual, management manual, you will have in place the timelines. So what is the timeline to get back all those, get back to the track? Or I've been auditing a certain company, it was stopped in the middle, and what time I should complete, take up the audit and complete the audit process, or some filings are not being done, and what is the time frame for me to file all those pending returns? Many things. So your timelines have to be clearly documented in the manual. So that will also help you to stick to the timelines. When you draw the timelines, you will have a plan also to stick to the timelines, right? And the other benefit is you are meeting all the legal and statutory obligations also. How you are meeting these obligations, we will discuss sometime later. Okay, so these are all the benefits when you implement the business continuity management process in the organization. Okay, what are the various scenarios of disasters in a CA firm? Let us see. A fire can occur. It could damage the equipment, destroy physical records. It can as well injure your staff and you also. So that is one disaster scenario in a CA firm. The other one could be earthquake, could damage your equipment, could damage your buildings, premises, and it can injure your staff also. Then tsunami and floods. This has happened in Chennai. I've seen cases where this has affected CA firms, not only organizations, even CA firms also. Could damage equipment, destroy public records, physical records, and injuries to staff. See, I'll tell you one good example, best example of business continuity management. Two examples, in fact, actually. One is related to us only. See, this is the lockdown time, and all seminars, physical attendance is stopped, and we are not going anywhere and to attend seminars, which is banned. But how quickly our institute thought about the alternative, and see the how series with very good topics and so much huge attendance every day. So this is, we can say, a very good example of BCP, business continuity management or planning. The other example I tell you, it's a practical where I used to go for an Fortune 100 company spread across the globe for audit. So I went to Chennai, and I was auditing this BCP process as part of information security audit. The best example of BCP, they have a very good system of BCP in the organization. It's a huge organization, of course. You remember there were some floods in Chennai sometime back, 2 or 3 years back, perhaps. And it's a huge, I mean, very, very huge floods, and many offices are closed. Even it hampered the processes of this company, this particular company, which I'm referring to. The Chennai, they have offices everywhere in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, Bombay, everywhere they have offices, Pune. So Chennai office I'm auditing. Chennai office is servicing a client in US 24/7. The service is 24/7, and this floods has really caused a huge hampered their operations, but they did not stop because they have excellent business continuity management in place. They have plan B in place. So they moved, the flew, I mean, all the people, there are 10 to 12 people working for this client. They were all moved quickly to Bangalore, and it's only plug and play only, these software companies. So Bangalore, the infra was kept ready, the space was kept ready for 12 people. It's only carrying their laptops and plugging in there. And they have carried out the task without a break, a single second break. So that is that's the way they prepare for BCP. And it's a huge organization. We CS don't need such a huge preparation, of course, planning. So cyclones and hurricanes can restrict the movement of partners and staff. This pandemic, these endemics and pandemics also can restrict the movement of partners, staff, could affect the health of the staff and partners also. Civil disturbance can also hamper the physical movement. Equipment failure, like your network will not work, or your computer does not respond to what, or your printer doesn't work. So all this equipment failure will also hamper the operations. And cyber attacks is another thing, which also is a very dangerous phenomenon, which could hamper your operations. So these are all the disaster scenarios in a likely disasters in a CA firm. Okay. Now, the question everyone asks, and Pankaj also asked me earlier, is we are a CA firm, we are not into business. So does a CA firm really need a BCM? And if so, why? I would say yes, of course. As I told you, not on a higher scale, or basic things which we address, we identify as processes. Basic things can be implemented where our operations are not hampered in case of a disaster. So you don't have to go into deep and complex method of implementing BCM. At a rudimentary level, we can always do that. So assignments like investigate, as I told you, this is a unique case of lockdown, but perhaps there may be instances where your area is out of bounds for others, or your office is open but your staff may not come. Such situations may also happen or arise. So uh, suppose assignments like investigation, filing of tax returns, forensic audits, appearing before NCLT and other tribunals, these could affect these because of this lockdown or curfew in area or floods in your area or any form of disaster. Okay. Now let me tell you, friends, that information is the most valuable asset for CFM, for that matter, any organization. Day in and day out, we deal with information, client files, client information, client KYC, client audit working papers, client tax returns, many things which we retain in as soft copies and also as a hard copies. Okay. So needless to say that we use and are heavily dependent on information technology to carry out these operations. Right. So what happens if IT, information technology, fails or is not available? How could it impact your practice? Suppose, take this session only. Suppose my system doesn't work or the network there doesn't work. So what is, everything is planned for the session. Suppose these things do not work, what will happen? It's a disaster, right? So what happens if information technology fails or is not available? How could it impact our practice as chartered accountants? So these disasters will definitely affect the practice. Okay. And during the continuance of the period of disaster, a robust BCM in place would help firms in carrying out the activities in a limited scale with alternative ideas. Okay. I mean, you will not search for Arya abhi kya karna hai, what should be done now, because everything will be in place. Okay, this has happened, this disaster has happened. The alternative is this, we can do this way. That will be in place when you really implement the BCM. Okay, and not only during the disaster, after the end of the period of disaster, also a robust BCM in place would help you to quickly come back on tracks with far lesser costs. My dear friends, actually, this lockdown is unique, and once you enter your office after the lockdown is relaxed, then coming back or onto the tracks and retrieving the information, um, recovery of facilities, recovery of many things which you normally carry out in the organization, in the firm, is going to be very difficult task. So you need to have a proper, if you have a proper BCM, this will not, this will definitely affect or it takes time. It's not a easy job, but it helps you, it makes your job much easier if you have BCM in place. Okay. So my advice is, whether yours is a proprietary firm or your firm is of a size of 5 to 10 people or 15 people or more than 50 people firm, you please have a BCM in place so that your any disasters, any hampering of operations will not affect much on you or your firm. Okay. Now, who is responsible for driving BCM process in a CA firm? It depends again on the size of the firm. Okay. The partners, the senior employees, if it is a big firm, the paid assistants or article students, the admin team, and any emergency response team. The huge CA firms can have this in place, not smaller firms. Something called emergency response team. If you have a size of 20 or 25, more than 25 staff, uh, then you can identify about 5 to 6 people as emergency response team. They should be properly trained, and they should know what they are they're supposed to do during disasters and post disaster also. So this is not because 1 or 2 people size CA firm or a 5 people, 10 people CA firm don't really need this emergency response team. Okay, so what I feel is you should have a proper BCM in place, even if you are a CA firm also. And what size the BCM should be depends on the size of your firm. Okay. Okay, now getting into the topic subject after this introductory remarks, what exactly is business continuity management? We have already discussed that. And what are the elements of this business continuity management? I told you business continuity management is a holistic process. It's a broadly established, implemented in the organization. It has a lot of sub-processes or subsets, which are as follows: business continuity planning, disaster recovery planning. We'll discuss all these things. Business impact analysis, risk assessment, development of BCP, testing of BCP, training and awareness to employees, maintenance of BCM. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss. Then these are not, let me also again say that these are applicable only for bigger firms. Even small firms can also do all these things in a limited way or to the extent required. Okay. Okay. I told you one of the elements is business continuity planning. It is called BCP in short. So BCP is the process involved in creating a system of prevention and recovery from potential threats to a CA firm. Potential threats, I told you this cyber attacks perhaps, or your area is out of bounds, or your network is not responding, or the key personnel who carry out an important task are absent, or they left the organization. All these things result in disasters. Okay. So BCM, business continuity planning, helps you to prevent such things to happen. And once it happens also, how to come out of that also, the BCP addresses. BCP involves defining any and all risks that can affect CA firm's operations. It's a risk management or risk assessment, which we will discuss sometime later. So once the risks are identified, the plan should also include determining how those risks will affect operations, implementing safeguards and procedures to mitigate the risks, testing procedures to ensure that they work, reviewing the process to make sure that it's up to date. Okay. So now let us discuss the objectives of this business continuity planning. See, this business continuity planning document, it is a manual. You document a manual for business BCP, business continuity planning. This guides the firm's disaster recovery teams, or if it is 2 or 3 people who are involved in this, it will guide them to come out of the disaster situation. Okay. Identify disaster recovery personnel. I mean, whoever, if it is a 10-man organization or 20, there you may have a specific personnel appointed for this, or if it is 3 or 4 partnership firm, then people who are actually involved, this a principal partner or 1 or 2 staff. Okay. Other objective is to assess risks and impact of those risks, provide step-by-step protocols, identify the location of critical data and assets, prioritize emergency communications, identify backup locations and resources, outline existing preventive measures, find weaknesses and propose solutions. Okay. These are the objectives which we will discuss again when time permits. We'll discuss these objectives. Right now, it is not required. If time permits, we'll discuss more on these objectives. Okay. You just now learned what is BCP, okay, business continuity planning. Then what is disaster recovery planning? Often DRP is also used as a synonym for BCP. Both they use it as a synonym abbreviations. See, actually, BCP covers everything actually, totally, and more so during the disaster time. Disaster recovery planning is something where how we have to recover the things or recover the operations or recover what we lost during disaster. How we plan to recover those things is disaster recovery planning. So basically, this is the difference between the two. Now, I've been telling you what about disasters, right? Disaster, 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 and what exactly is this disaster? Okay. So, what is this disaster? Disaster is something like this: an unexpected business or professional services interruption caused by natural or man-made forces. Okay. So the interruption poses. See, this lockdown is one of the disasters. Okay. Or floods or earthquake happening and affecting your premises is another disaster. So who is going to be affected by these disasters? Okay. An unexpected, okay, the interruption poses a threat to some or all of the following: the employees, the firm's physical assets, the firm's financial position, and also the firm's brand itself. It could affect all these. It depends on the how, to what extent it affects these, depends on the severity of the disaster. Okay. I told you there are two types of disasters: natural disasters and man-made disasters. Natural disasters are caused by natural events and include uh, fire, earthquake, tsunami, typhoon, floods, tornado, lightning, freezing temperatures, not in India, of course. Heavy snowfall is not again in India. Pandemic, severe hailstorms, volcano, etc. Man-made disasters, I discussed what are the natural disasters. Man-made disasters are terrorist attacks, bomb threats, chemical spills, civil disturbance, electrical failure, water leaks, water stoppage, strikes, hacker attacks, viruses, human error, loss of telecommunications, data center outage, lost data, corrupted data, loss of network services, power failure, prolonged equipment outage, UPS loss, generator loss, and anything that diminishes or destroys normal data processing capabilities. On the lighter vein, uh, I said pandemic is natural disaster, but this particular pandemic, I don't know. You will. I'm leaving it to your discretion to place it under the natural disaster or man-made disaster. I do not know. Okay. Anyway, it's a disaster. It's a huge disaster, and everyone will remember this throughout our lives. Our children, our kids will remember this. They talk about this when they become old. Also, it's such a huge pandemic, a huge disaster. This present lockdown, this COVID-19, rather. So these are the natural disasters and man-made disasters, which could happen in any chartered accountant's firm. So there are different phases of disaster also. This is a crisis phase, emergency response phase, recovery phase, and restoration phase. Crisis phase is, it comprises the first few hours after a disruptive event starts or the threat of such an event is first identified. We identified that we know that we've been listening about this COVID-19 and we much before and after that we started we were continuing our operations and going to offices doing services to the client. Okay, but we can say disaster happened during that Sunday where we were asked to stay indoors, and then lockdown is declared afterwards. So Sunday, it was Sunday, so not much will happen. And suddenly, when the lockdown is declared, then it is. I mean, you cannot go out, and you cannot go visit your offices, or you cannot meet clients. So initial those hours is the crisis phase. Okay, when you come to know that you will not be going to office for the next 21 days. Okay. Example could be ongoing physical damage to premises which may be life threatening, such as fire or this pandemic. So what will happen? You will restricted access to the premises. Okay. The second phase is emergency response phase. The emergency response phase may last from few minutes to few hours after the disaster, because disaster still continues. Okay. This particular disaster is still continuing. Some disasters may not continue. It will last only for few hours, few days, perhaps. Then the third is recovery phase or restoration phase. This phase restores conditions to be, will attempt to get to normalcy. It will start with damage assessment, usually within a day or so after the disaster, when the cause for evacuation or stopping of operations has ended or lockdown is relaxed or normal working hours will be relaxed, restarted. Then what could be the impact of disaster on CAFO, on a chartered accountant's firm? It could be a total destruction, for example, floods or earthquake or this pandemic. Could be a partial damage, preventing use of the premises. As I told you, I keep telling you that your office is open, but it is, or your office may be out of bounds for people. It is under containment zone, perhaps. No one can visit the office, or your office is not in containment zone, but your certain staff are in containment zone, key personnel are in containment zone, where you cannot provide any service without them. So this could be partial damage. Okay, may not be a physical damage to the premises, but a restricted access, as I told you just now. So impact of a disaster may result in loss of human lives in many cases, loss of productivity. You may not carry out your operations, loss of revenue, loss of goodwill, and loss of you are not in a position to provide any services to the customers. So understanding disaster and their impact is the key to successful business impact analysis, which will result to in preparation of an effective business continuity plan. Now, what is risk? I'm talking about risk, right? A risk is a combination of the probability of an event and its consequence. We will discuss what is risk sometime later after this. A probability or threat of damage, injury, liability, loss, or any other negative occurrence. This occurrence is caused by external and internal vulnerabilities. Now, what is a vulnerability? A vulnerability is degree to which a person, asset, process, information, infrastructure, or other resources are exposed to actions or effects of a risk. See, in this pandemic, in this COVID-19, the vulnerable people are the old people, aged over 60 years of age, and also the people with comorbid conditions who have health conditions like hypertension, diabetes, and other things. So they are vulnerable people. So that is the vulnerability. Now, I told you, you need to have a risk assessment in place for implementing this business continuity management. Okay. Risk assessment, I don't have to tell you in detail because you are all exposed to risk management in carrying out your functions. Okay. Risk management is a very important tool now for auditors. So risk assessment is an important phase in the development of a business continuity plan. Risk is an exposure to unwanted loss and or delay in operations. Risk assessment is a systematic identification of all risks, their investigation and grading. Okay, now what are the risks in a chartered accountant's firm? What risks a CA firm faces? The best way to identify risks in a chartered accountant's firm is, first of all, you need to identify what are the internal and external issues or concerns that worry a chartered accountant's firm. The internal issues that worry a CA firm is lack of availability of competent staff, of lack of availability of enough hardware equipment. These are the few cases of internal issues. And external issues can be competition or undercutting by other CAs or issues with the non-compliance, the requirements of ICAI, or many things. These are the internal, external examples of internal and external issues, and risks flow from there. Okay, if non-availability of competent staff is an issue, what is the risk? You need to identify the risk. Your operations may affect. Okay, see, non-availability of equipment is an internal concern. Okay, it is a risk. Your operations will affect even here also. Okay, non-compliance with the requirements of the institute, say non-payment of membership fees, it may result in you losing your membership for the days of non-payment. So these are all the risks which flow from the identification of internal and external issues. What you need to do is, these risks have to be identified. Okay, the other way of identifying the risks is, for a chartered accountant's firm, who are the internal interested parties and who are the external interested parties. For example, for the internal interested parties for a chartered accountants firm, maybe the staff, uh, or the partners themselves are the internal interested parties. Okay, or the people who you outsource, they could be internal interested parties. Okay, the external interested parties would be your clients, the IC, our institute, and many others who interact, or your suppliers. Many people who interact with the outside people interact with your firm. So identify the internal and external interested parties, then determine their needs and expectations. Okay, risks flow from their needs and expectations also. You need to identify all those risks which flow from require needs and expectations of the interested parties, both internal and external. So there may be some other risks also which you identify in the process, and all these have to be captured in the risk table, risk matrix normally they call. Okay, and just capturing the risks is not enough. You need to appropriately rate the risks. The rating could be done based on the, say, threats, the vulnerability, and impact. There is a method of rating all those risks, and you can identify some of the risks as significant risks, and you need to have mitigation plans for all the significant risks identified, and also some other risks which you identify. You can have mitigation plans for all the risks identified. Okay, this risk assessment is a very important part of business continuity plan. Okay, this is how you need to identify the risks, and the risk assessment is to be carried out. Now coming to the actual development of BCP, how do you develop this business continuity planning? See, before planning for business continuity or business continuity planning, before you draft the manual, you need to carry out the business impact analysis. Okay, so what is business impact analysis? The process of identifying how a specific business process or set of business processes would likely be affected by an unexpected interruption. Supposing you carry out the function as your firm carries out the activity, what CFM normally does, say auditing, or you are carrying out an investigation assignment, or you are developing management information systems for your client. Okay, so the process of identifying how specific business processes, these processes, how this disruption or disaster is going to affect these tasks which you are carrying out. You need to analyze the impact of this disaster disruption on these activities which you are carrying out. Okay, then identify the following impacts to specific business process and corporate functions when a disaster. For each process which you are carrying out, identify what the impacts on the following matters. On the human resources, suppose investigation is carrying out by a specialized team. Okay, so if disaster occurs, what will happen to the specialized team? How many days this disaster is going to last? After the disaster is end of the disaster, well, whether this manpower is available or not, this human resources are available or not, you need to assess on this availability of human resources. Then financial positions, reputation of your firm, your physical assets, and also your client relationships. So identify the impacts on these if a disruption or disaster occurs. Okay. So based on the inputs received from business impact analysis, a detailed plan is developed. A business continuity plan is developed in the form of a manual. You need to write a manual. The manual will be very bulky manual for huge, big organizations. For CFMs also, if it is a big CFM, it will be moderate, medium to moderate, bulky manual. For small firms or even proprietary firm will have a manual, but it's going to be very small manual. The requirements are addressed to the extent required only. The business continuity plan shall ideally address all issues involved in a disruption to business, and also it should address how recovery is going to be made after the disaster. Okay, the plan should be documented and written in simple language, more so for chartered accountants, for CA firms, in a very it should be, I mean, I'm seeing the chat, but if I'm seeing the chat, I get distracted. So let us, I'm sure Pankaj is noting down all these points, important questions which you are asking, and will be addressed after the session. So plan should be documented in simple language so that everyone in the organization and related to the organization directly or indirectly can understand the language. It should be part of the plan to develop some important teams which with clear-cut roles and responsibilities. As I told you, if it is a one or two man firm or a five-man firm, you may assign responsibility to other people and clearly define their roles and responsibilities. If it is a big firm, where I told you emergency response team will be there, you can have a core team for business continuity management, and you can assign roles to each person in the team. So business continuity plan should minimum at the minimum should come encompass the following: initiation procedures means notification procedures will ensure that the organization's appropriate officials are contacted on timely basis when a disaster event occurs. These procedures will include
It's 12 o'clock.
contact details of all key personnel and vendors. See, initial procedures. This business continuity plan. See, suppose you came to, as a chartered accountant, so you must have come to know about this disaster. I mean, when I'm saying disaster, this lockdown happened when our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, came onto the TV and announced that a lockdown is announced for 21 days, where you cannot go out anywhere or you cannot move out of your houses. So our offices are literally closed. So your plan should address this scenario. Okay, it should have appropriate your staffs, your key personals. You must have really contacted your key personnel when this has happened and gave advice to them what is to be done. Okay, so this has to be included in the manual or written addressed in the manual, and you should have the contact numbers of all key personnel and also your uh, clients, important clients, key clients, and other people who you are dealing with, so that you can contact them during the lockdown period. Because this is the initiation phase. And the second thing is preliminary damage assessment. Again, during this pandemic, taking the example of this pandemic, once management has been notified of the problem, a preliminary damage assessment should be performed. This need not be a detailed assessment, but will provide an initial indication as to whether the plan needs to be activated. Okay, once this pandemic has occurred, preliminary damage assessment has to be carried out. How it is going to affect your operations, how it is going to affect your revenues, how it is going to affect the retention of clients, many things. These have to be assessed. Damage has to be assessed. This can be done by the partners themselves or the team which you constitute for the purpose. If it's sole proprietor can carry out this task. So put recovery site on standby. Where the BCP involves the use of a commercial recovery center, that site should be put on notice. You can have alternative sites in place. When you are not able to go to your office, you can actually have an alternative site. Most of you are working from home because you have systems and the laptops and computers in the house, and the network connection in your homes. You are able to carry out the tasks. So if a lockdown or is limited to one area, okay, and if your office is in a containment zone, you can have an identify an alternative area also, alternative site also, which has to be written or addressed or given in the business continuity manual which you're going to draft. So the assessment process should consider the impact on the facilities, the power and other utilities, the environment, and the essential equipment which you have in place in your office. Then return to normal operations. Once the primary site is refurbished or a new primary site is available, it is necessary to relocate to that site. Okay, when you identify an alternative site, your staff need to go to the alternative site to carry out the operations to whatever extent it is possible. So basically, your business continuity plan should address all these things. Okay. What are the likely disasters? The first and foremost is you need to identify the scope of the business continuity plan, to what extent it is applicable, and you need to identify, write in the manual, the responsible persons who are going to act during disasters and post disaster also, their roles and responsibilities also, and then you need to identify what are the likely disasters that happen to the CA firm or your firm in particular. Okay, the disasters which I mentioned, jot down, write all those disasters. Then what you need to write is what will happen, how does those disasters impact the operations, okay, and how they are going to impact the operations. And then your business continuity manual should refer to a risk matrix. You should prepare a risk matrix separately and identify, as I told you, how to prepare the risk matrix and how to what are the mitigation plans are also in place, and you should address the risk management in the manual and refer to the risk matrix where everything is written there. The risks, the risk rating, and the mitigation plans also. Okay. And once and you should have the disaster recovery planning also as part of this business continuity plan. And what are the things, what steps you need to take when disaster ends. Okay. And you can at the end of the manual you can have how what are the records, various records you generate in the process of implementing this business continuity plan. Okay. I think I will share with Pankaj and Daya sometime later, in a few days, in a couple of days, the model. I'll prepare a model business continuity plan for chartered accountants. I prepare that and share with Pankaj and Daya, and it's. I think they have ways and means of presenting or distributing to the all the members present here the model business continuity plan.
Yes, Murthy, we'll put it in Hyderabad branch website and it can be downloaded from there.
Yeah, sure. So I will do that in a couple of days and send it to you, Pankaj.
Yeah, okay. Go
ahead. So once this business continuity plan is drafted, this manual is in place, is that enough? I would say no. There is a need for testing this business continuity plan. You wanted to know whether it is really working or not, right? So, objectives of testing the disaster recovery plan are something like this: simulate the conditions of an actual business recovery situation. Simulate the conditions. Suppose I've witnessed many such mocks in organizations where I went for audits for environmental management systems and health and safety management systems, even information security management systems. And I've gone through their reports, mock drill reports, because they always conduct these mocks. So imagine or a situation or simulate a situation. Suppose one of the disasters you say is cyber attack. You actually say that a cyber attack has taken place and how you are going to carry out the tasks in such a situation. Remember that whatever you do or your staff will be doing when when this disaster occurs should be not I mean, whatever instinct driven, okay, we err or we may do a lot of mistakes or we may not recover if we do anything on instinctive basis. You should observe the mock or the situation, simulate the situation which you simulated should be as per the business continuity plan. You must have already addressed how you do that in your business continuity plan. Whether you are doing exactly as per the business continuity plan or not has to be observed. So simulate the knockdown situation, or simulate or imagine that your office is out of bounds. A lot of companies do simulate on fire breakout. In fact, we practically when we go for these audits, which I mentioned, see how this mock is conducted. We witness the mock drill, how they carry out. Okay, so this mocks, this business continuity plan has to be tested, say every 6 months, or frequency which you may determine by yourself. So sometimes, I mean, in organizations, big organizations, they do it every 3 months or every 6 months. Or for CA firm, I think it can be done every 9 months or 1 year or 6 months, 6 monthly basis. So when you actually observe the activity or the mock drill which is carried out, you will identify the deficiencies in the existing procedures. You will write a report, mock drill report, where you point out what are the deficiencies you notice in the mock drill. And these deficiencies have to be plugged, or these deficiencies have to be corrected, and your business continuity manual may require changes, amendments based on this testing. Okay. So there are various types of testing, like checklist test, structured walkthrough test, simulation test, which I just mentioned, parallel test, and full interruption test. So I'm not discussing all those tests. So when we actually implement and what is the best test available, you can think, or you can contact me or any expert on this. What is the best way of testing your business continuity plan? Now the question is whether your employees require any training and awareness about the whole process of BCM or business continuity management. Of course, it is a requirement because you need to train or make aware at least key personnel, or if it is 3 or 4 sized CA firm, the partner or the sole proprietor and 1 or 2 staff should understand or should know what exactly is this business continuity plan. They should involve while drafting the business continuity manual also, and they should know what they're supposed to do during the actual disaster. So you should train them. So I think the manual which I'm going to present to Pankaj is going to address a lot of things, what I told you just now. So in conclusion, I can say that, I mean, it's true that most of the CA firms in India are small and medium. So implementing and maintaining a robust business continuity man is an expensive affair, involves huge expenses. But let me tell you, friends, the investment in BCM shall not be considered as unnecessary, because we never know what disasters and disruptions hamper our operations and when. Like this pandemic, we never expected this would happen. The importance of investment will be known only when such disasters happen. And the CA firms which have a robust BCM in place would come out of crisis much faster and with much lesser costs. Firms without BCM, I'm telling you, 100% I'm confident when I say this actually. The firms, because I've seen a lot of examples, not CA firms in organizations. Firms without BCM, business continuity management, in place might face a Herculean task to bring the firm to levels of normalcy. It could take much longer time to recover and cost might be high. And where in many cases I've seen the total collapse of the firms or the organizations itself without proper business continuity management. Okay, you can say the collapse of one of the big fives some time back, Arthur Andersen, perhaps a robust business continuity management would have saved the company, perhaps, the audit firm, perhaps. Hence, the robust business continuity management in place would surely help CA firms to tide over the crisis much quicker and with lesser costs. So I advise all of you to do it in a simple manner, but ensure that all aspects of the firm are covered, and let it be to the extent, on the scale of your operations. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, friends, for giving me this opportunity to delve upon this business continuity management. I tried to keep it in simple language. That is the reason why I did not touch upon many other complex things. But this, I'm assuring you that I will definitely draft this model business continuity plan for chartered accountants, which I will circulate to Pankaj and Daya, which will be easy for you to understand. And any questions, you can come back to me once you go through this manual. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Murthy. Thank you. It was elaborate, no doubt about it. Thank you. See, now I got two feelings here. One feeling is, I should have been wise enough to do it maybe last year or before, so that the entire talk would have been useful for a time like this when you would have put it. But of course, and I also feel many of us, while you're talking, might be telling, "ठीक है boss, lockdown खुलने तो दो, ये सब करेंगे." Okay. So anyhow, what happens is thank you very much for the presentation. There are question answers which are there. So what we'll do is, for the benefit of members, I will read out the question. But before that, Dayabai, would you like to intervene, or shall I take up the question answers and then you?
No, take up, Pankaj Bhai. I think the way Murthy sir has covered, because this is the first time ever we have got into this kind of discussion from the CA firm. It's like, this is just a start of our thought process. So let us, rather than compiling the entire thing, it is better that we go through the question answer session, and then accordingly, wherever it is required, anything which we need to do from institute point of view, I'll note down. Or if anything is already there, I'll surely keep informed. I am there on the line.
I think the first question which I'm taking from Vishal Agarwal needs you also here, Dev. The question, Murthy, you can also just open the Q&A session and take it. Vishal Agarwal at 11:14 a.m. Okay. As we all know that our chartered accountants fraternity are deprived of technology disruption. We have been publicly speaking every other day on the lacking our professional carries, but are we thinking of any practical solution to tackle the technological issue? I hope, like Arogya Setu app pushed by Government of India, our ICAI shall also think of any such technology software to integrate 3.5 lakh chartered accountants all over region to a common platform. Both of you can.
Pankaj Bhai, I'll give the answer from institute point of view, and then Murthy sir, आप पहले बोल दो, फिर मैं बोल दूँ.
No, I mean, can you come again? I was searching for this question. I could not find the question in the chart.
Yeah,
so what exactly?
My system also got off in between, so I also missed out. But I remember the question, so I'll answer that question accordingly. Then again, Pankaj Bhai will come back and will request.
What exactly is the question there?
The question is with regards to how is Institute going to take forward this this kind of technology disruptions and all those things. And what is Institute
Yeah.
doing for that? Can
Yeah.
we have an Arogya Setu kind of app for 3.5 lakh chartered accountants? I don't have the question before me. If I am wrong, I am very, because I'm just remembering and answering, putting that point.
There by 11:14 a.m. The question is from Vishal.
नहीं, मेरा system बीच में off हो गया तो the questions are lost.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I have questions at 11:13 and 11:15. 11:14 question is missing actually.
Right.
So just see that the same question will be there. So, but however,
Basically, I think the suggestion which has come from Vishal Agarwal is that now that, okay, this time every chartered accountant has been affected by this, and how the government has come back with the Arogya Setu app and is giving lot of suggestions, lot of material is available connected to this.
Pankaj bhai,
That something like that would be better. Okay. Anyway,
Pankaj
I'll
bhai,
take the next.
let me answer this. I think then Vishal Agarwal has not gone to the institute site and he is not attended other sessions, because I talked about Digital Accounting and Assurance Board has launched DCMM version 2, which talks about all such things and more than that. See, the digital transformation which has happened, we have categorized, I'm just trying to see where that book is, because I have to make a presentation for all the members at large. Digital competency maturity model talks about all those things which a practice firm has to take care, which is very important from a point of view of whether you should, such fundamental things are questioned in that, whether you may have a website of your own. But the question doesn't end there. We have given the reason why you should have a website also. Similarly, whether a firm should have their own mail IDs, that why there should be there and how they have to get it, that also has been answered. That is the minorest, minutest thing which is being talked in the DCMM version 1. And also we have talked about firms, categorizing the firms into 4 parts. One is the firm which is doing statutory audit, another which is doing statutory and internal audit, tax audit, GST audit, other consultancy. There are 4 wings to it, which has very, very categorical things, question answers with regards to what is the competency the firm should have with regards to the digital competency. So we have come in 2017 and which has been revised last year. So it is already there for us.
I'll just go to next question. I think Murthy, I'll just read out slowly. Okay. It's at 11:28 a.m. from Gururaj Google. Sir, please throw some light on the ways in which a CA firm can provide services to its clients. Assume finalization of results in case of listed entities is a priority even during lockdown. Can provide services to its clients when entire country is locked down. What methodologies to be adopted during such time? More specifically, what tools can be used for obtaining the appropriate audit evidences and complete the audit? And he continues the question, how does a BCP work when entire geography of India is affected by lockdown? Any alternatives for such situations?
Yeah, let me answer this question actually. So this, as I told you, this is a unique case of lockdown where the whole world is getting affected. So the problem of keeping to the sticking to the deadlines and filings or within the deadlines or any so such things do not matter here, because everything is considered. All these things are taken into account when deadlines are framed. Already, Finance Ministry has extended the deadlines. There is no, timelines for what you're doing. But there may be cases where the restrictions are limited to a certain geographical area only. In such cases, you need to address what exactly you have to do during the lockdown. Okay. I mean, Mr. Dugal has said that an audit has to be completed, right? In a time frame, something like that, right, Pankaj?
Yes, yes. How to do it?
Uh, yeah,
Like
yeah,
what
these
tools
things,
can be obtained appropriate audit evidences?
yeah.
Because now
See,
we have to do the audit. So in that situation,
yeah. So we are slowly moving away from physical presence to virtual audits, actually. In fact, most of my management systems audit now, we are getting training in virtual audits. In future, we few in audits where there is no physical presence required, we will be doing the virtual audits. So it is not so simple that I can suggest the tools. It's more a technology driven tools which are required, which the institute, I think institute will take this into cognizance and come out with some solutions. Okay, but these situations must be considered as risks while you draft the business continuity plan and address and it as such, and with mitigation plans. Okay, that anyway, the manual which I'm going to share will address these things, the issues to a certain extent.
okay. I'll take the next question from Tarakesh. Just a second, maybe. Tarakesh, uh, sir, can you give an example of how a CA firm in the current situation could have managed their work better than others if they had a BCM in place?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. See, let us consider you are carrying out. I mean, this is a unique case again, because nothing is. I mean, everything is affected here, which you are helpless. You cannot do anything. Okay, you can carry out the operations on a limited scale. You can get in touch with your clients. You can use the technology available and talk to the client, have meetings, and even the clients are not in a hurry to, so they don't require anything right now, because everything is closed, right? So in this particular pandemic disaster, more than what you do during the disaster, it is important how you come back onto the tracks after the disaster. It's a huge disaster, because you will be visiting your offices after a pretty long time. When you enter your office, everything will be in disarray. You don't know what, I mean, you don't remember, you don't know what you were doing earlier, and what you it is very difficult for you to ascertain which is an important task to be performed, who is who which client has to be attended. And if you prioritize your job, prioritizing the job is a big task. And if you prioritize the task, and getting the competent staff who can carry out that assignments is a difficult. See, the recovery phase is very important and very crucial and very complex. If you have business continuity plan in place, you will address all these things. How disaster recovery has to be made, you will have a plan, and it will be much easier for you post disaster to come back onto the tracks.
Yeah, thank you, Murthy. I think Venkat Kishore Segu has a complaint with us. Why did we name it as a business continuity plan or BCP? We should have made it as a profession continuity for CA firms. I take it in a right spirit, Venkat sir. We will do it. It's not Murthy answer to be answered by me. Again, Shailendra Sharma has a question which I'll just put it up for you. Let us see. Is present day corona crisis a man-made disaster or a natural disaster?
I've left that to the discretion of the members to decide whether it is man-made or natural, because it's everything is not clear right now, and I don't think this is a platform to indulge in blame game, actually, right?
I'll definitely not advise the Anivas to comment on this. So I'm taking the next question. Murli Krishna Chodavarupu. is article trainees leaving for examinations during the peak period is a disaster. Yeah, this is a regular, like a DCP, it is a disaster continuity plan, because every 6 months we face this problem. So I think any suggestions from you, Murthy, on this particular thing?
Yeah, even for that also you have some business continuity plan manual in place, and you identify the risks, and you can have mitigation plans for that also in the lighter vein, actually.
Yeah, but do you think so? But yeah, in fact, I can't call it as a disaster.
How can it be a disaster?
Yeah, I think Daniwas should be able to uh, come up with his idea, because his firm is having. Okay, continue.
Bolo Pankaj bhai, you can say that. So what we have done, let me just share a practical thought to it. In the recent our everyday training at our office, I went and announced very clearly to our article saying that this is a period where clients are not giving us a lot of information. We have reduced the number of days of leaves. 1 month we were giving 4 months off, so now 1 month we have already cut. So they have to work in next 3 months time. 3 months leave has been given, and here we have given them exemption to attend any training and programs if they are going to go for examination. So might be something like this you should do, and tell them that very clearly that look, the important factor is, Pankaj bhai, no one can go for a movie. They cannot watch continuously TVs. It is best time that they sit and study. So might be we have to come out with this kind of thought process. Might be every week a partner or someone calls up, find out, tell them whether you have studied well or not, what is that you are required. And that point that need to be insisted is only 3 months is the examination leave. You need to be very clear. Because when institute, I am talking as an individual, I am not talking as a council member. When as an institute has taken an initiative and decided that stipend need to be paid, this should not be considered for the purpose of leaves and all those things and all, then obviously we also have a right to cut the leaves and see that the people are able to attend the office at the time of necessity. And even if this time they are not going to support, then when are they going to support the principal?
Thereby, let us talk it in a continuous manner. Let us not restrict it to 2020. It is one problem which is faced by members across. See, in that, can a solution be like we take only 1/3 of the eligible articles in each attempt? See, most of the times, what at least that was one mistake I myself had done several years back, and I learned the lesson. And I had some excellent team coming up. So I enjoyed 2.5 to 3 years, but later on it became a problem, and then we started. So every attempt, we do not take more than 3 articles, so that what happens is there is always a backing up team which is there. Yeah, we know that there are exams, we know people will go to leave, we know that there are some failures also, but is this staggering taking of articleship, will it be of any help? Murthy or Dayavai?
Yeah, it is actually a right approach, Pankaj bhai. Very early I realized this, and now we have close to 70 articles, and out of that, 50 articles are working with the audit and assurance team. So what happens is every 6 months there is a batch of people who will go, or there is a batch of people who will come back again. So what happens is the kind of continuity planning which we have done, and that has been very effectively planned. As you rightly said, it should not be that if I have a vacancy, that take all people in vacancy. And there are difficulties with some firms where they are not even getting articles. That is also a different challenge, which a lot of firms are doing. So now it is again. I'll go back to the situation like when it is a firm, people are not interested to be part of it because they are thinking that there's not much to learn. So today the students have become a little greedy with regards to learning. So what is happening is one
There is a
issues,
problem with
no doubt
implemented
about it.
continuity plan. ICP is also a problem. Yeah.
So actually, adding to what they have said, it is for bigger firms, it's not a problem actually, because a batch will be moving out in a batch, another batch will be ready, which will take care of. But smaller firms where there are few articles, this is a problem. This is what I'm trying to say. This has to be addressed as a risk. and rated risk has to be rated, and a proper mitigation plan should be in place.
Yeah, so as Murali Krishna sir has put it, it's not a disaster, but definitely we should take it as a risk, and more so it is applicable to smaller firms, Murthy sir, because at least the bigger firms have some financial stability to bring in a paid staff at a
Correct.
better remuneration
Yeah.
than a small firm who will have a lot of problem suddenly finding a new staff at a better value. Yeah, I'll go to next question. Okay. Sir, do you, it's from a phone named person. Sir, do you advise online audit with clients henceforth? If so, do we need to report the same in audit report?
This is for me or there?
Uh, any of you can answer, sir. I'm only moderator reading the question.
See, actually, these virtual audits are happening as in the management systems audit, which I'm carrying out now. So these international certification bodies like NSF, Perry Johnson, they are giving training to auditors now to how to carry out the virtual audit. So virtual audit can happen as far as the quality management system is concerned. But virtual audits is very difficult for environmental management systems and occupational health and safety management systems audit. I mean, I'm trying to tell you an example of audit, this line. And responsible recycling also, because you need to be there present at the site to see whether any safety systems or environmental issues have been done or not. There it is not possible. For other quality management systems audit, it is possible because you can verify records online, and some element of risk will be there that that may not be genuine, or it can be it could be a fake, but that risk has to be taken in all virtual audits. So as far as CA, our professional statutory audits is concerned, or CA audit is concerned, virtual audit is possible to a certain extent. And mostly it is possible because it's basically we don't need the physical surroundings much. Perhaps it's just my view. They can correct me, and
Yeah, yeah.
and also we can see the records again. Here also that element of risk, whether the document that we are there evidencing is genuine or not, we know.
See, like in this particular case, cyber laws are to be understood very well by the auditors. When you want to demonstrate in the court of law tomorrow whether this document has come from the right source, and you need to have certain document which is in place with regards to sharing of from the registered mail ID, it will be treated as signed, it will be treated as this, that, and all other. You need to put those conditions. Maybe we can take separate session on the cyber laws as such, so that people will understand the importance of doing audits online. What is audit online? Technically, we need to really understand very clearly. Basically, one is a physical form of audit which we are doing. Example, now we are having our client, which is on SAP. So those entire documents are already pushed on the SAP with scanned document. So we are doing statutory audit of that listed entity very comfortably. We are very comfortable with regards to anything. We have taken a declaration from the client saying that, look, what we want is this. Kindly give a confirmation signed by the CFO, signed by the managing director. So that gives the authenticity of the information what you are auditing. So there are certain extra steps that need to be performed, or that need to be demonstrated by the auditor, so that it will be easy for us to demonstrate that we have followed all the procedures to get. And if a person is given something wrong, it will be primarily his responsibility that he is given a fake or a forged document. So those all things are need to be considered.
Yeah, right. Murthy, I'll just go to the next question.
Yeah.
Once BCP is drafted, how often it need to be relooked, or does it require mock drill, say yearly once?
That depends on the size. For chartered accountant firm, I think mock drill, yearly mock drill will do.
9 months, you said.
9 months is ideal time, because 6 months is too short a time. 9 months or 1 year should be should do. Because that's itself a revision which you may have to amend your business continuity plan based on the observations or model report.
Pankaj bhai, one important thing. Tomorrow, the session which is going to be there on use of tools and technologies, we will request Narsimhan. I'll personally call him and tell him that how these files can be moved to cloud. And as Murthy sir is talking about drills, what drills means is very simple. Either you can do it on a 9-month or yearly basis, or might be randomly with regards to on a continuous basis also. Where example, if you are moving the entire data to the cloud, what happens is a person has to review that entire thing. Example, I'll take income tax, one article or one qualified staff will be told to sit from home and work, right? So what happens is every week you can experiment whether your cloud is providing you that kind of information first, which is in-house, and second, which is from the client side, off-site, which is at the client's place. If this guy is able to sit from his home and extract the data and again work with his article, I think these kind of things which we need to really take it up. And this is one good idea, Pankaj bhai, for us to work on, so that we can give it to our members in a very good manner. How they should work and what should be the plan individually we can do.
Yes, they were, because most of us who are working using very big offices, paying a substantial amount as rent, now can really start thinking, ki, boss, is it possible that we can get work from home? Because I feel wherever the person is working from, as long as my deliverables are met, it should not be a problem to us at all. And I think this one area of work from home, we need to explore it in a very big way so that the rental income can be controlled down the line. Because of late, last about 5 to 6 years, I can say, the people were, our firms are moving into a very posh offices, spending a lot of money on interiors and all, and paying huge amount as rent. So now this work from home is something which will definitely we need to explore, because massive expenditure can also be controlled. I'll just go to Satish Shanbag sir. Murthy sir, can we get model BCP manual which is applicable for all mid-sized CA firms? I think as Murthy sir has confirmed it, and the moment he gets it, we will be putting it in the HOD ICA.org website. Amjad Hussain has come up with a query. BCP manual should address the various disasters separately or unique for all disasters like earthquake, tsunami, virus attack, etc. I think Murthy, you have to do.
No, I mean, all the likely disasters that can happen in a CA firm shall be addressed there. See, it can happen, floods can happen, a fire can happen, or a lockdown can happen, or a cyber attack can happen. All these things have to be considered as disasters. More than listing the disasters in the manual, it is important to identify the risks of these disasters. Because of disasters, the risk management, risk matrix, that is more important. In fact, Pankaj, actually, if possible, or it takes some time for me, I will design a risk matrix also for chartered accountants. So, model one, and send it also later on.
That would be great. Definitely, we'll be happy. Thereby, wherever you want to say something, kindly stop me. Otherwise, I'll continue taking the question. Yeah. The next question is from Akshay.
For information, Pankaj bhai.
Yeah.
Just for information, Pankaj, I am just responding to a mail which has been received by one of our committees with regards to the cloud computing and using of Zoho. And our firm has been using Zoho from last 1.5 years. We are very happy. We moved away from Tally. All my entire accounts of the firm, so many things are already there. So I'm just giving an approval that they can go ahead, so that it will be a very cost-effective tool for our members. So it's the right time that I am working on this response. So just for your information. So I don't know what decision will be taken by the council and all, but things are moving in the direction and level. That is assurance which I can give.
The next question from Akshay Jawar. This is one very repeated question which I am getting. Will video of same be made available to view at a later point of time? I'd like to tell each one of you that yes, we are recording, except a couple of programs, we are recorded every program. But what happens is there is a lot of disturbance and all which keeps coming, and we'll have to do some editing. And unfortunately, I'm not that technically qualified, and each file is coming as a 80 MB, 90 MB file and all. I'm trying to talk to our tech guy and see if he can just do some editing for me, and so that we can put it in the website. It will take time, so kindly give us some time, but definitely videos will be put in the website. Definitely we'll do that. Okay. And I'll go to next question, which is from Basant Kumar Dugar. Basant Kumar Dugar, welcome. I think he's the person from Bangkok chapter. Okay. And he is asking you, can you make a model of BCP for CA firms in questionnaire form? Like ICA inter-control questionnaire form from his Bangkok chapter. ICA, he's a vice chairman of Bangkok. I think definitely we should look into it. Murthy, will you be able to do it in a questionnaire form, or thereby as someone can do it?
I will just explore the possibility of making it in a questionnaire form, which I think right now, at this moment, I will say that it will not be a viable account. Perhaps let me not conclude, but definitely I will try to do it in a questionnaire form. Yeah.
Don't worry, Pankaj bhai. I promise that we'll ensure, both you and me and the team will ensure that, Murthy sir will make it. And I promise that from institute, we'll ensure that we publish.
Yeah, and we'll have a residential refresher course jointly with Bangkok, and we will take this as a topic there. The next question is
don't forget me.
Yeah, you will be the speaker. Don't worry. So Tejo Murtala Rammurthy, the question is: disaster recovery plan needs to be made as a part of business continuity plan. Is it right? Further, in
Yes.
case of small and MSME category firms spread over all over the country, please advise how to take care of this type of hurdles that are unexpected to safeguard the work of CA firms. That are expected to safeguard the work of CA. At 12:22.
12:22. Anyway, this question is missing. Now, actually, as I told you, what did he ask? First one?
Disaster recovery plans need.
Yeah, it's a part of BCP. It's a part of BCP. And the unique case, this is a unique case where the whole world is closed. There may be instances of disasters where particular geographical area may be closed. You need to take those disasters also into account.
The next question is from Giridhar Lal Toshniwal, who checks, does ICA, I think thereby, does ICA suggest any software or tools for having audit documentation and audit planning?
No, sorry, please repeat again, Pankaj.
I'll repeat the
please
question.
Repeat, I could not listen to it.
Yeah, does ICAI suggest any softwares or tools for having audit documentations and audit planning?
Just people information consumption. As an institute, we have actually earmarked 30 crore rupees for developing such tool in-house by the institute itself, or maybe we'll purchase it, white label it, whatever it is. I am part of that committee, fortunately. So that exercise is on to go and either buy or might be develop our own tools. One is that. Number two, there are certain set tools which are the institute has not recommended anything, but Digital Accounting and Assurance Board has actually tied up with Audit Idea tool, which is there. Okay, so you can actually buy it, and that cost of the tool is around 50,000 rupees. But because you are an institute member, it is given for 25,000, or it is half the price. If it is after 1 lakh, it is 50,000 or something like that. So that means institute, when it is giving some benefit or facility, they have tested it, and then accordingly only it is come. And we are trying to work hard on that side, where we are going to develop our own tools technology, which can be used for the peer review also for any kind of standards which are required to be maintained, and also with regards to tomorrow, if there is a DC, whether minimum set documentation standards are being done or not. But one tool which is actually very costly, which I can recommend, is very fantastic, amazing it is a Caseware, which talks about the entire documentation standard, and it has lot of information. And the best part about the Caseware is, if you are having a US client, you can actually subscribe India plus US as well. So you can take country specific standards which are required to be compliant, and it is very beautifully, audit procedures are being documented very clearly. So this will give you what is the approach you need to do. You certain information you put it into the system, that get converted into a required information. Lot of things are there. So Caseware is globally accepted tool, which is institute not been telling anything. But otherwise, if you want to go for it on an individual note, I am sharing. Caseware is one tool which is there. Number two is Idea tool, which can be used for sampling and other data analytics purposes. So these documents, when you provide, when you pull out information and keep it in your file, they become justifiable in any circumstances, in any court of law, or might be disciplinary, because the parameters are globally accepted parameters to do an audit. So these things are there, and there are a couple of more which are there, but I don't want to share here. Maybe when separately we can do it. I've done a little bit of research, so I'm just telling which are the best ones, though it is costlier one, but these are the best ones to use.
Yeah. Murthy, you want to add anything to it?
No, what he has done covered elaborately.
Again, a question from Gurraj Google. Keeping in mind that the lockdown will extend or it will be imposed on a frequent intervals, bus, mat bolo yaar. What is your suggestion as of now? Do we have a plan A and plan B right now? In fact, not liking the question at all. Nothing personal, Gurraj bhai. The idea suggested itself is dangerous. Anyway, Murthy sir, please take it and answer.
I mean, it's dangerous. I do agree, Pankaj, but it appears to be an inevitable situation, because going by the news, what we are getting actually. Anyway, let us be prepared for all this. Let us start writing the business continuity manual right now, so that such situations will not we will handle such situations in future.
In fact, Guraj bhai, this is one problem which many of us are facing, and there's a lot of talk going on in the market, because several people I had talked to, they have called me, I have called them, and all. Frankly, we are in such a situation where how will most of them are ready with the April salaries, but how will the May salaries go? How will the June salaries go if this lockdown goes on? Because the revenues are virtually zero, okay, are very less. And how are we going to continue? That's why I said, Mat Darao, okay, let us assume uh, आपके इस बार May 4 is our May 4, okay, so we'll all get out of the house on May 5th and start working is what we felt. But let us see. Okay, the next question is from Satyanarayana P. During the lockdown, a lot of learning and updating has happened. We all would be waiting to get going with audit. Once the lockdown is lifted, company will be preoccupied with restarting work, workforce redeployment, cash flows, receivables and payables management, inventory evaluation, and many such matters. A SME firm will have further couple of months to manage audit, will be the last of priorities. How to handle this situation?
I mean, can you come out? I'm sorry. Can you just read?
See, ultimately, what is happening is that now most of us have learned a lot of things during the lockdown, thanks to various webinars which are available to us, and the time which was in our hand. But what happens is once the lockdown is lifted, the company would obviously be preoccupied with restarting the workforce redeployment will happen. Then they will have their problems. So an SME firm will again find it more difficult because the audit is the last in priority list for such companies. How to handle this situation?
That's a risk.
You want me to?
Again, I'll say it is a risk as to be identified and suitably mitigated. I think Daya can give an answer on this, responsibility.
Yeah, Pankaj bhai, my reading is very simple and straight. We are looking it as a negative side, right? It's actually not going to be negative. It's going to be very positive, you see. What is going to happen is all these SME practices or the clients which are going to come back, they'll have a lot of issues to be discussed on a continuous basis with the auditor. So that is one thing, because if a larger organization is there, they have their entire risk mitigation plans, they have top of the top guys and all, but our small entities which are there with us, which is always going to depend on chartered accountants only. Point number one. Point number two is going to be, you think that all the people are going to join back for the job. The answer is big no. They'll have their own reservations, they'll have their own problems. Ultimately, what is going to happen is, if you have your eyes, ears, and thoughts are open, what is going to happen is SME, which is a little larger than small businesses, which is medium or little larger, those entities will have a lot of challenges to address. So at that point in time, the SMP practitioners which are there will be in high demand, because they will not get their internal employees to be sitting with them. So they want some or other quality resource who is sitting and working for them. So we need to think from a constructive mechanism. We have to create an opportunity out of it. We have to reach out to those people whom we thought he might not give us statutory audit, or he might not give us internal audit, he might not give us tax work, but we have good connect with those people. So those people will be requiring, those companies will be requiring, those big businesses will be requiring that kind of extended support. If you are able to really capture that, I am telling you, you will not be sitting free, and rather you will make more money than what you are required to be making.
David, by the time I read the next question, which is again for you only, there is some problem with your internet connectivity where the smart face we are unable to see, and sometimes it's just getting stuck.
Just one minute you wait, Pankaj.
Yeah.
Just 1 second you wait. Huh?
Yeah, then I'll just go to Murthy for one question from Anand Sharma. Is it mandatory to get mock drills performed from third party only? Our internal employee with a proper knowledge can do it. If mock drill can be done by internal employee, will the documentation be accepted by auditors and external agencies?
Mostly the mock drills are carried out by the internal staff only. Where internal staff are not adequately trained or not competent to carry out the mock drills, external agencies are chipped in. But even when, in such a case, when external agencies come and they oversee the plan, the mock drill, they oversee the drill only. But everything is carried out by the internal staff only, because it's the internal staff who get affected and who have to work, carry out the tasks during the disaster or whatever it is actually. So basically, I will put it, it should be done by the internal staff only.
And it will be accepted by external auditors or agencies?
Of course, yeah. That is a practice actually. It should be done by the internal people only. They should be, but they should be properly trained.
Hope I am back, Pankaj bhai.
Yeah. Now I'm able to see you clearly, because that was a demand of some person in chat only, bhai. It is not my.
So that face was smart. This is smarter.
Yes. Thereby, ICA said that period to be counted as service, but not advised to pay stipend. Kindly advise.
Pankaj bhai, this was a very sentimental issue for the council also. Are we gone down to a level where we are not able to support our articles? Is the discussion which has come. So this is very sentimental issue which undoubtedly, even though I have my different kind of reservation for it, or maybe I had a different suggestion, but I just wanted to keep quiet only for one reason, that it is article, ultimately it's a student, and for them I think we need to really think about. But there are different challenges which we are coming across. There are a lot of complaints which are coming across, that the articles are not responding, or might not respond furthermore. So those are the different kind of complaints which are coming up, that we are trying to see what we need to do, how it is going to go, and time will only give the answer for this. So as of now, I want to withdraw myself from this question.
Yeah, in fact, one very interesting discussion which had also come out at that time was that people are talking 50% cut, 25% payment and all. See, my personal take, because there are a lot of discussions happening, I'm just sharing with you. Now, what are we trying to do? There's a person who earns a lakh of rupees every month, and he spends 60-70,000 rupees, and he manages to keep 40,000 as a saving. And to such people, we say, okay, boss, I pay you only 50%, 60%. They're able to manage. But when we are talking about employees where the pay is low, and mostly article clerks, okay, I agree that they are from a better homes, but many article clerks are there who are from rural villages, and this stipend is a major source for them. What are we doing by trying to not pay them? I think this is the time they need our support. This is the time, I think. So in fact, many of the firms, I know they have, I personally have transferred a lump sum amounts of 15,000, 20,000 to Articles Bank account in the March itself, knowing that this lockdown will extend. And yet, I don't want to name them here, but yes, there are people who have told me that we have transferred to all such articles who have come back from rural areas and whom we found are staying alone. So, anyhow, Vaibhav, it's a personal question. I think let us not answer it on advice of ICAI platform, but there is no such advice from ICAI whether to pay or not to pay stipend. Hanmanlu sir is again checking that article students are never available for bank audits and tax audits, and this is a continuous problem which we need to solve it.
Pankaj bhai, honestly, not only Hanuman sir, I am also telling you, how do we recommend? It's basically a major transformation which is going to be required if you change the examination pattern as such. But honestly, there is no right answer to it. If someone has, surely give me a suggestion on my mail ID. I promise that I'll take it up.
One suggestion has come immediately afterwards, wherein he has said that, look, we need to have permanent staff to look after our bank audits, tax audits, and all. And what we can use, we know that these articles are only seasonal, so we need to learn to use them seasonally only.
First of all, Pankaj bhai, as he rightly said, articles are only for training. They are not going to replace the permanent staff. In between, we also have come across such kind of situation. We have practically faced this situation. But ultimately, now we have come to a decision that, it is better that you have permanent staff, less work, or might be quality work which is there, which we can manage comfortably. Because articles are not, I don't know, over a period of 70 years, we have thought that articles are our employees and all, but they are not our employees. Actually, they are our, they have come for training, and we can only depend on them to that respect only, up to that respect only. Just imagine, United States of America, they do not have any article training. Most of the other parts of the world, nowhere articles are there. They are totally driven by permanent staff only.
Yeah.
Article students can support the competent person who is going there, and not the take up the audit independently. Or
just said, because we are already beyond one, I'll just take up a couple of important questions. I'll not try to go on questions which do not have an answer. Like Anand Sharma has put it, looking at the importance of BCP, do you think it should be made mandatory for all going forward, or it will still be left for companies firm to decide? And is further asking, is there any country which has made BCP mandatory till date?
Nowhere.
no.
You are talking about audits?
BCP.
BCP.
No, in the audit firms you are talking about?
Yeah, that's what it says.
There is nothing which is there, but I can just show you one book which I started reading. 1 second. This is the book which I am reading right now. I don't know I am able to show that.
Yes, we could.
This is primarily a thick book, which is a guide to practice management for small and medium-sized practices. It is a IFAC publication, which I just which is printed. It has a very thick book, both sides printed. If you see, if you read this document, I think you will get to know a lot of things which we are missing out in our practices. So it's a huge book, Pankaj bhai. I think every chartered accountant should go through this document. If anyone doesn't have, I'll surely share the link from where they can get it. It is one of the best books which is available in the world.
And thereby, Santoshi Sharma is asking, both Murthy question, either of you, is it safe to keep data at cloud?
That depends on what kind of cloud you are using. That is very important because there are different kind of parameters. One important discussion came in that let me not talk about it. Data can be kept in cloud, but again, which cloud you are using. If you are going to spend, then only the quality of that security will come out. Otherwise, it is like, you know, God only safe. Like today, Amazon is giving us a lot of good the pricing with regards to this. But there are many such other companies which are providing cloud. That again depends on what kind of security level certifications they already have.
Murthy,
someone asked about Dropbox also. Dropbox is again a limited purpose sharing only. You cannot use it as a complete set because Dropbox again might be vulnerable to some kind of security threat.
No, any storage device, external storage device has that inherent risk of security actually. But as Zaya says, it depends on which platform you are storing that.
Tomorrow, Pankaj bhai, tomorrow's session, I request everyone to participate, whoever is there today online as of now, because a lot of such things are going to be discussed tomorrow. It's going to be one thrilling experience for all the members.
Thank you. I will just take thereby, I think Gurraj sir, should we implement compulsory work from home for some limited number of people as part of plan B? Again, is a hypothetical thing. I'll just go to one question directly thereby asked by Vivek Tapadia. ICA signed MOU for providing free software for host books, HOST. Similarly, does ICA is going to sign the MOU for audit tools, software, documentation, and cloud?
I already answered that question. I don't know, Vijay might have not heard it.
Vivek,
we have earmarked close to 30 crores, either for the self-development of tool, or might be we'll be doing a white labeling, which is going to be it'll take little time, Pankaj bhai, to work on that because it's a very big task. It is not small. No country, no institute has that kind of documentation standards which is there. But if we are going to make it, we'll be the world's first institute which will have that kind of software developed in-house. No institute has done it in-house till date. So if we are putting our fingers crossed, we are working day in, day out to see how that can come. But yes, it will take little time. It will take little time.
And what is the caseware cost is another question.
Caseware costs you close to, for 5 licenses, around 2.5 lakh rupees. 2.5 lakh rupees. It is a system-driven software. We mean it is the license is attached to a particular system. So the request, and now I am actually already. Let me be again very frank, Pankaj bhai. I have already initiated the discussion with Caseware to give us single license thing also. I already had 3 days back a detailed, webinar, video conferencing with the guy who is heading the Indian practice, and we are trying to modify that for our Indian chartered accountants. And if that works out, I am telling you, I would like everyone to give me rupees, if that works out. So that cost will come down almost like 50,000 rupees for a software per year, and there is a continuous annual cost of 10 to 15,000 rupees. But that will become a very good document for all of us. It will become a very good document for all.
Yeah, because again, same thing, Arun from Salem has put the same question. Why not our institute and not have a separate cloud for our members with some costs or without costs? I think.
There is a issue, Pankaj bhai. We have actually had a deliberation. I have answers for all this. I'm really happy that these kind of questions are coming, because from last 1.5 years, I have been breaking my head on all these things. The deliberation came, why not we have our own cloud? But the problem was, we are not a software company, please understand. And we cannot have people sitting in our office to take care of the security requirements. This is a really niche area. We are a regulator as an institute. What we can do is, which are the best companies we can recommend. Beyond that, we don't want to get into it, because if I price it, say 1,000 rupees per month, some person will say, the other guy is giving you for 500, why you are charging 1,000? So we don't want to get into that kind of mess where people think that, institute is making money out of it. We don't want to make money out of it. That is a very clear discussion. I'm loud and clear in this discussion. I'm pretty confident. So what we are trying to do is, we are going to give them a list of 4, 5, 7 names. Wherever you want to go and take, or otherwise also you take. We have tested a couple of them. Otherwise, the security issue will come back on the institute. And most of our auditors are having a lot of data of our clients on our systems itself, which itself is not secure. We do not have any firewalls in our system. And tomorrow, if any data is going to be taken away, then it is going to be a different challenge altogether. Who is going to justify? So this is, again, the DCMM version 2 is one important document which we need to go through.
I mean, the firms can have a robust backup policy to overcome this, because again, I mean, a cloud storage, all CFOs may not afford or something like that. So it's best to have a very good backup policy.
No, sir. Honestly, I'll tell you, the cloud space is very available, very cheap. Honestly, okay. I'm telling you. There are a lot of companies in Hyderabad. Vivek is there on this attendees list. Catch hold him. He is the advisor to the Control S kind of company, which is already providing globally. It is providing a fantastic cloud, computing things. So people like our own auditors who are part of this kind of system, they can be of a great help to the members. Okay. They can get a negotiated price, might be not through institute indirectly or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Murthy, a question from Govardhan Shetty Baisani. Any suggested fully automation software for a medium-sized CA firm?
No.
Any such? nahi hai. I think most are there. I will just take this last question, because others are slightly. This again a bit critical. What happened to bank audits? Some of them are saying branch audits are going to be cancelled. Would you like to throw some light on it? There.
Sorry, Pankaj bhai, tell me.
What happened to bank audits? Some of them are saying branch audits are going to be cancelled for this year. Can you throw some light on it?
See, don't get into that discussions at all. Whatever has been discussed, whatever has been talked, it was all become an hype and all discussion. Please understand, our president himself has taken people on, all the central statutory auditors on call. He's also spoken to Reserve Bank of India. He spoke to IBA. See, we are doing our best. Again, it is not our birthright for the audit primarily, but we are doing our best to ensure that the things are being taken care. We have given all the justification which is required. All the justification which is required, which will require, precaution that need to be taken. But the only thing is, like, again, if the situation and circumstances are going to go to a level where you are not able to travel or you are not able to complete the bank audit, how will you? Okay, tomorrow he'll tell you, okay, I'll get it in the essential services. From tomorrow you go. Can we go? Pankaj bhai, can your firm go and start audit tomorrow? So there are practical issues which are there, which we need to understand, and only the time and circumstances which will come, But one assurance from the institute side, which I can give you all is that institute has taken utmost care for this particular thing. What best institute could do, what best PDC could do, what best president could do, what best all the council members could do, that has been done. And balance is now left to God.
Yeah, just before I take one last question there, can you just show that book again? Because they are missing publisher's name in that. And because some of them, book publisher name of the book, or if you can just share the link in chat. So you just share it in chat. See, I think we are still having some questions, but I'll just end with one question, Murthy. We are holding the DSC of majority of our clients with us and also filing various GST returns, IT returns from our IP address. What are the various risks involved in this?
Risk with respect to what?
Murthy, you might, because you're not a small auditor, small auditors like me, we keep all the DSCs of our client at our office.
Oh, DSCs, okay. Yeah.
So we file the GST returns, IT returns. So what are the risks
It is not a risk for the chartered accountant, it's a risk for the clients, right?
Yeah. So can a CA safely keep it?
Yeah, you should keep it safely, but it is responsibility to see that it is not misused. So a CA firm can again, see, I always talk in terms of risk only, should recognize this as a risk, and that keeping clients at ESC is always a risk. There's a possibility of a misuse. So how to mitigate this problem? It can always be done.
Yeah, in fact, most of the questions again relate to the article shape, the other problems and all that way. I think we need to consolidate these questions and get a different platform. So I think it's time to close the meeting and time to say thank you very much, Murthy. It was a pleasure.
I want to say something before that. Just a few minutes. I thank you very much, Daya and Pankaj, for giving me this opportunity. And this show, if I wanted to showcase the BCP, I can showcase both of you only. This series of webinar really doing an excellent job, actually.
Thank you, sir.
Talking to the panelists, and I mean, attendance of 200, 300, 500 is something amazing, actually. And I think, Pankaj, you need to go to the Central Council very fast to support, to be with Daya and do greater things, perhaps.
It's end of my election. Let us not go to it. I had enough. Okay.
I should not say this here only. Okay, but I'm tempted to say that.
Thank you, everyone, for
thank you very much for Daya and Pankaj for giving me. And I thank all the participants for patiently listening to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. From Murthy, sir. But only thing is, Pankaj bhai has sent me giving a warning that, I'll not come. You be there. Okay. And whatever support is required, I'll give it from outside.
Okay, then I have to talk to Pankaj privately then.
Thank you. Tomorrow, I'd like to remind everyone that we have an excellent session on use of tools and technology, which has become a need of the day. So again, as usual, we'll be starting it at sharp 11 o'clock. The speakers, the panelists, everyone will be here at 10:50. Request all of you to join early. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Murthy.
Thank you.
I'm doing the end meeting.